The class of 2027 quarterback room is loaded. Let's talk about them from coast to coast right here on the Portal Podcast.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day right here on the nation's #1 sports podcasting network, Locked On. We are brought to you by our friends at Mazda, who puts the same drive into every detail, wins define the moment, putting in the work that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there is more to you. We are going to be discussing how these quarterbacks have to finalize and pick one school out of dozens of offers, all the unofficial visits, phone calls, all the messages, all the DMs. It's a lot. I'm going to get to that a little later in the show. How do I evaluate kids? One of the reasons that I look at a player differently than somebody else that you might see right now is long-term potential. I'm also going to define that later in the show. Touchdowns to interceptions. I'm going to mention some stats from 4 or 5 guys that I've watched film of again today, and I'm going to just discuss why it's so important. Guys that think the game just as well as they can use their physical traits are the ones that are successful, and sometimes even more so. Quarterback is played above the shoulders more than any other position in sport. Touchdowns to interceptions. It really matters. And defining the top quarterbacks, I also want to be fair. If you take nothing else from this podcast, note the following. I'm not just ranking guys today, but I am going to discuss them from a category standpoint. Who fits where, type of offenses they're going to be better in. I'll mention some schools, some player comparisons to former quarterbacks or guys in the NFL, etc., because I want you to understand what I've seen on film. I'm not going to put up film here, but they don't want us using anybody that's got ads or anything in videos, so I'm not going to use Huddle or Quick Cut or anything. I'm just going to discuss what I've seen out of numerous top guys that I've had the pleasure of seeing for the class of 2027. And with that, I want to start off with a guy that I wasn't necessarily as familiar with until today. I just watched his film, and I want to talk about him. He's a kid out of the greater Chicagoland area, Jake Nawrot. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's spelled Nawrot. He plays at John Hersey High School. 187 at 263, 71.1% last year, 3,078 yards. Check out the touchdown to interception ratio. This tells you that that Jake can really process. 41 touchdowns, only 2 picks. 41-2. I don't care what level you're playing. That's outstanding. If I remember correctly, this was his first year as the guy. If I'm wrong, so be it, but I'm pretty sure that it was. 6'3.5", I would guess by looking at him somewhere in that range, little under 200. He could add some weight, but he's got another year of high school. This is what I wrote down in my notes. Pocket passer with mobility to hurt defenses. He will make the first guy miss, and he'll go get you 3 to 5 yards, and he's pretty good in the red zone too. They'll run a few plays for him to tote the football. But most importantly, deadly accurate, keeps eyes downfield while under pressure, good balance before he throws the football, smooth delivery, great timing with sideline passes. You don't see a lot of schools really throw a lot of sideline passes, but they let Jake do it. Challenges the middle of the field. That's also unusual for the high school level. Patient and team-first style of play. Makes defenders miss, but could add a little speed. That's the one thing. If he was just a little faster, it would certainly help him. But this is kind of the new trend. Didn't used to be this way. When I would scout kids that were sophomores and juniors in high school, I'd go through their stat line. They'd throw for 2,000 yards because more teams ran the ball. And there would be a higher propensity for interceptions. 41-2. He's obviously being coached well. His receivers are catching the football. His running backs, his tight ends, all of that. But he's making the right decisions. There's a reason that the rankings are the way they are. And to that point, just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and put this up just so you all can see what they have. This is just on threes rankings for right now. Their top 7 guys. So take it for what it's worth. They got Will Mencl, number 1. I'll talk about him here in a minute. He's out of Arizona. They got Nawrot, number 2. Got Israel Abrams, another Chicago area kid, number 3. Keegan Croucher, a kid that's from the state of New York. They got Kavian Bryant, number 5, my favorite quarterback probably in this class. At number 5, Trae Taylor, another Chicago area kid who just moved, by the way. He's going to be in the greater Omaha area. He's committed to Nebraska. And Elijah Haven. These are just 7 of the players that they have. And if you look at these, and I've went through all their films and everything, there's a very consistent measurement. Again, touchdowns to interceptions matter. But you also look at something else that's important. 6'3", 6'4", 6'4", 6'4 and a half. Kavian Bryant is only 6'1", but he's one of the most electric guys you will ever see. He averages just under 30 points a game in basketball. Trae Taylor, he's another kid that's 6'3", 6'4". Elijah Haven was 6'4" last summer when I saw him at the Future 50 event. They're all bigger guys. Measurements matter, except for Kavian. And again, like, he could play wide receiver. He's that kind of freak. So there's still a standard with your measurables, how you are viewed by a lot of these different companies. And then there's a guy like Peyton Houston, who I'll talk about briefly here in a minute, that's 5'10", but has a rocket launcher. He's a kid from northern Louisiana. He's committed to LSU. That's a really unique project for Lane Kiffin to take on, but he had offers from numerous programs, and he was one of only 2 guys early on in this class at Notre Dame offered. They're real picky. So he commits to LSU. I think there's a lot to be looking at when you talk about this group in terms of upside, but the measurables are there, and they don't turn the ball over. Those baselines are great starting points by all accounts. Now, who else do I like and why? My favorite guy that's what I consider to be a pocket passer with mobility, that hybrid. He's not a true dual threat, but he can run, is Trae Taylor. This is a young man that I've gotten to know. He's committed to Nebraska, plays for 24K, 7-on-7. I know Damon and those guys real well. And I like his delivery. He's got the size. He played against pretty good competition in Chicago, and he's going to play for a really good program in Nebraska next year. I think that he has the mental wherewithal to make all the throws. He's very competitive, but if there's nothing available, he will go run and get you some yards. He's got a nice spin move, probably needs to get down a little bit more. That won't work as well at the college level, but he has the ability to be an NFL guy. Here's what I said about Trey. And again, I've seen him play more. So my opinion of Trey is probably higher than it is of some other people, just because I've seen him so many times. I've seen his film, and I've seen him live in multiple years. But excellent escapability, usually with the spin move, deft touch with the deep ball, balanced stance, consistent over-the-top throwing motion, plants his back foot, and fires with confidence while not rushing his delivery. Consistently finds a tight end or receiver over the middle. Again, guys that can throw to the middle of the field, that's really important. If you don't, that's a big chunk of the field you're not utilizing. Displays level 2 accuracy with velocity. What's that mean? He can get it over the linebacker in front of the safety. He knows the velocity to do it, so he doesn't overshoot his mark. Or he will take something off of it if it's necessary. There's a guy wide open. Trey will do that. Don't overthrow that guy on a busted coverage. He's smart enough to do that. And he also shows advanced understanding of pre-snap reads. If there's a terrible matchup based on what the defense is showing, he's going to exploit it. He will also hit a back shoulder fade if there's really good coverage, and he'll make it to where his receiver has a shot, and it's almost impossible for the defender to get to it. Being picky, the one thing I said that he needs to do, just like a lot of different people at this level, he could speed up his delivery. I could probably put that on every quarterback just a little bit, and not just talking about where he's really trying to fit it in the window, just getting it out there, not just all the time, but every now and then you've got to really fire it. I get that. But if he does that more consistently on some of his shorter throws, et cetera, it would probably behoove him as well. But to me, he's conservatively a top 5 quarterback in this class. And again, everybody has their own opinions, but we'll get into that a little more. When we come back, I'm going to go over some more profiles, talk about some of the recruitments and who goes where and why in terms of what I think are fits. We're going to mix some of that in. But again, this next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the touchdowns and interceptions, and I'm going to use some examples. I want you to think about the NFL guys. Who's been successful long-term? They don't turn the ball over. That is next right here on the Portal Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who show there is more to the score than what is on the screen. I have oftentimes rated quarterbacks in many different ways: mobility, intelligence, big playability, winning games in certain circumstances. But what is the player that is the guy that really is just encompasses everything. The media, dealing with fans, there are a handful that are a little bit different. And I think that both Peyton Manning and Tom Brady fit that. They're guys that have done commentary on TV. They do commercials. They're guys that are happy to go on podcasts. They do a little bit of everything that helps promote the sport. And I think they go above and beyond for football. And I thank both of them for it. Moz is much the same way. And they remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work that gets it done, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and never quit. We put the same passion into every model. Highlights make the real. What it took to get there is what makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there is more to you. We are also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. If you ever wanted to get to the NBA Finals, live and in person, FanDuel's got a shot for you. They've got your dream sitting right there because they've got an NBA sweepstakes going on. Just go out, head over to FanDuel, check it out. Whatever future you want to go with, whatever future bet, just use your profit boost on it, and you'll automatically be entered into the sweepstakes for the NBA Finals. That's right, flights, the tickets, the whole shebang with FanDuel. It doesn't matter what you want to bet on. It could be conference finals for the East, for the West, or the actual NBA championship. That is up to you. Visit FanDuel.com to get started and use your profit boost on any NBA future to get started. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Take your game to the next level with the Everydayer Club down below. $5 a month or $50 a year. We've got a Discord. Check out the link below as well to check it out and get all the details. But on your audio, no ads. $5 a month or $50 a year. That's the most important thing to note. Check out the Everydayer Club. Now, as far as the other quarterbacks I want to talk about today, there's still a long list. I could do a 5-hour podcast. The 27 class is loaded. I'm going to go over a few more kids that I've discussed here just a little bit, kind of mixing them in, talking about some of the new guys. But again, touchdowns to interceptions. When I read off these stats, pay attention to that. I didn't accidentally put these guys up there. It's not just watching the film because I'm watching highlights. Did you throw picks? Are you making good decisions? That's how I know, just from speaking to college coaches, that's what they want to see. You got to have certain measurables, and I've discussed that already. Do you protect the football? Those who do are the ones that get the most offers. So let's go back into the list here. Next up, this is an interesting one. On 3 now has Will Mencl, number 1. Chandler, Arizona. It's just outside Phoenix. That's a really good program, and he's a guy that lit it up last year. 258 at 367, 70.3%, 3,815 yards, 33-5 TD to interception ratio, so 6.6 to 1. Obviously very good. This is what I wrote about his film. Mencl's best work is completing passes under duress and off platform. He's different than the other 2 guys that I talked about so far. He reminds me of a lot of the guys that just drive you nuts. They can just escape enough. Kind of like Gunnar Stockton is annoying sometimes for Georgia. He gets outside the pocket and makes a play. And if you disrespect his ability to run, he'll go get 10 yards and a first down. Mencl can do that. I think he's a little better laterally, but he's a very mobile quarterback. After avoiding somebody, he will reset his feet quickly and he'll deliver a strike. He goes back into passer mode while being an athlete. That's hard to do. He leads receivers to open areas. He won't put the ball in harm's way. Again, only 5 picks. He's mobile, but he's able to be a dual threat quarterback, whether it's RPO, whatever the case is in the red zone. If you do not respect him, he will smoke you. He's got really quick release, and he has that ability to like dip down and throw the ball sidearm if a guy's coming at him. It's really good. And the one route that I think he throws extremely well, and it's a hard pass to make, is the 7 route, meaning a corner. Going away from you to the sideline, that's difficult, and he makes it happen very, very well. The only thing that I think he needs to do, and this is probably true of a lot of young quarterbacks, slide. You have to get down when you're in the middle of the field. You cannot be taking those hits. Kavian Bryant, this is the guy that is probably the most dynamic by a mile on here because he's just a complete freak. For those of you that do not know, he's 6'1", 6'2", somewhere in that range, and he's just super athletic. As a freshman in high school, he averaged almost 30 points a game in basketball. He plays for Westwood High School out in East Texas, and his basketball highlights are worth your time. But as a quarterback this past year, also elite. 201 to 277, 72.6%, 3406, 37 touchdowns. Guess how many picks? One. He had one pick in 277 attempts. First word I put for his biography is playmaker. And what I say here next, I do not take lightly. They were two of the best recruits I've ever watched. He is Caleb Williams and Ronald Curry-like. For those of you who don't know who Ronald Curry was, he was the Caleb Williams about 30 years ago, went to North Carolina, tore out his Achilles, and he was never the same. He made it at the NFL, ended up playing some receiver, but he was a freak. Effortless change of direction. He makes guys look bad. You can let him get like right in front of him before and then just dodge. He can do things that other guys don't. And his style of play is very much like Caleb Williams with that. He will beat you running, so you got to be careful about blitzing him. Very, very strong arm and has the ability to add touch when he throws down the field. And again, 37-1 TD to interception ratio speaks volumes about his ability to make good decisions, despite being a guy that will run around, extend plays. Sometimes those are the kind of players that put the ball in harm's way. Kavian really doesn't. And he's very accurate out-breaking routes. So things, again, going away from the quarterback, that shows his arm strength, his footwork, his timing, and also working with his receivers. I think he's as good as it gets in the class, regardless of position. Probably the highest upside of anybody in the class. He is committed to Texas Tech, and I'm sure they paid a pretty penny, but I'm curious if he's going to play any basketball too, because he's really, really good. Champ Mons. This is a guy that I think is really, really fun to discuss because he was basically an NFL body as a freshman in high school. And I mean that. He was like 200 pounds, a little over as a freshman. Plays at Vero Beach in Florida. He only played 5 games this last year. He was hurt, but he came back and played 45 of 63, 71.4%, 691 yards, 7 touchdowns, 0 picks. He's a guy I saw at Rivals, 5-star. I've seen him at Under Armour. I know Champ, really, really talented player. The thing that he does best is kill you with the vertical ball. Even if a guy's coming at him, his natural strength, and again, he looks like a defensive end or outside linebacker. He's put together. He can step into the throw and make it, but if he's not able to, he can still do it. His upper body strength is very abnormal. His ability in his abs and his obliques to power the ball, it's not normal for a kid at his age. Even some NFL guys would probably be like, wow, that's impressive for a high school kid. He has reclassed. He's really a 28 quarterback, but he's 6'2", 6'3", somewhere in that range, 220 to 230 range. He looks the part. He can change the velocity when needed. He does a really good job of like faking one direction and then throwing the screen to the other side. Good footwork. He has good timing. He will lead his receivers, even on a shallow crosser or something. He'll put it right where they can get it and continue running at full speed. All the attributes are there. Florida, Miami, Florida State, they're all after him, obviously. Schools up north, I know Ohio State really target him. Notre Dame's really after him. I don't know where he's going to go, but his upside's through the roof. And again, he's a reclass guy. I don't know what his expectation is to play early, but if he's going to go to any of those schools, I'd be curious what he thinks because it's going to be hard to play early at any of them, but that's okay. Maybe he needs to sit a year or so because he's a reclass, but the upside is just absolutely insane. Lastly, Israel Abrams. I watched his film the other day. Just want to make a couple more notes about him. He plays at Montini Catholic up in Chicago, another Illinois kid. Really mobile. He has a little bit of what Kavian Bryant does. Athletic. He's probably 6'3", 180, 185, something like that. He can make all the weird throws, throw over the top, and he's a guy that will run when you need him to. And Auburn is really after him. Florida State, teams that use a mobile quarterback, but I think he's just as good throwing the football from the pocket. He's got some bounce in his step, and if you come at him, you better break down to make the tackle or he'll make you look bad, much like Kavian Bryant. And he's a guy that can throw the deep ball, or he's happy to go down the field. If you're going to play like a cover 3 shell, he'll take the 5 and 10 yard passes. Patience is important. Very, very much a guy that just on the fly will make something happen. But if you're going to make him the assistant quarterback, he can do that too. I can see why everybody wants him. Like he's a very unique player. I'm curious to see where he ends up. I know his list will continue to grow, but Auburn, I think, is the favorite right now. We'll see where Israel Abrams ends up. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the predictions, and then I'll get into the chat and I'll discuss some of that, but why certain schools fit players better than others. This is going to be my opinion, and I'm pretty steadfast with it. That is next, right here on the Portal Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Indeed. With workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, and inboxes overflowing, that one position you have to fill is still sitting open, though. When the pressure's on and you need to get the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, the skills, experience, and location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your job post. And here's the best part that kind of explains it all. In the minute I'm going to speak with you, 27 hires will be made worldwide by Indeed. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time going to get the stuff done you need at the office. That is for Indeed sponsored jobs. That will help you get to where you need to go. Spend less time searching and getting the actual interviews done while you're working. And as a extra bonus, $75 job credit will be sponsored to you from Indeed with Indeed sponsored jobs. Just head over to Indeed.com/podcast. Again, Indeed.com/podcast. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Finding the right fit. This is one of the hardest things to do because the most important part of a quarterback's evaluation cannot be done. Now you're probably saying, what do you mean? It's me going and watching kids play and speaking with them. That's great. Gives me an idea. But the most important calculation is something I will do maybe 5 times in my life. That's go sit in the room with these kids as they learn at the high school and college level. Well, we're evaluating them before they go to college. Can you read the board? Can you explain what's happening in real time? Can you adjust and then apply it while somebody's trying to run over you that weighs 295 pounds and he's 6'5" with long arms? That is why quarterback is so hard. It's about the above the shoulders. I mentioned that earlier. I even talked about it briefly, talking about it during the ad earlier with Peyton Manning and with Tom Brady. They're all-encompassing. They can join a live crew and do anything you want for a game day and explain something. They can go into a huddle and do it. They can talk to anybody in a small room. Those are the kinds of people that do well dissecting plays and coverages. Tom Brady talked about it on a podcast recently with Shaq. He said, I would look at a play, I'd see it once, and I was good. He's got basically a photographic memory. That's kind of a helpful thing. Peyton Manning, obviously very sharp. Those are the players that are going to get it done, but are you going to put in the work to do it? Just because you have that ability doesn't mean you will. So picking a school, you got to pick one that's going to have an offense that fits you, and here's what I mean. Alex Golesh at Auburn. He's been at Tennessee, UCF, USF. The offense that he runs is basically the same thing that Heupel runs at the University of Tennessee. He was his offense coordinator. Very basic offense. It's more of a college offense. The NFL is much, much more complex. Quicker to learn, but not necessarily one that's going to push one forward to make it to the NFL, at least theoretically. But as a college, you can come in and hit the ground running, which I expect Auburn to do with Byron Brown. However, right down the road, one of their biggest rivals, the University of Georgia, Coach Bobo and that group, they run a pro-style offense. It is not friendly. Are you a guy that wants to take the time to learn that? Some kids don't want to wait. Some would rather try to make it to the NFL than learn, whatever the case may be. Not that you wouldn't learn something in some other schemes, but they're really going to challenge you with post-snap reads. And that's what that whole situation is with chalkboard. If you're not ready to do that as a freshman, you're normal. If you're not ready as a sophomore, you're still par for the course. It's usually 3rd, 4th, and 5th year players that can do it. Anybody before that, that's advanced metrics, and that's why guys like Peyton Manning, who was a starter as a freshman at Tennessee way back when, are the exception, not the rule. To that end, what about fits? Let's use Champ Mons for a second. 6'3", give or take, 220 to 230 pounds. He's got some mobility. He's one of the rare guys that can play in about any offense. You could stick him in Oregon's offense. They like to take shots after running screens and power football. No problem. You want to run more RPO? Could he run Rich Rod's offense at West Virginia? Absolutely. Could he run Notre Dame's or Ohio State's? Yes. He has the arm strength to throw those deep outs, to throw a lot of deep passes, 100%. There are the rare guys like him, and that's why he's ranked so high. I think he's a top 10 quarterback, even though he's reclassed. That's my opinion. But there's also a guy like Mencl, who I'm not quite as high on as on 3. I don't think he's the number 1 quarterback, but he could fit into a lot of different schemes. Like, he would be great, absolutely great, in the offense that Alex Golesh has at Auburn. Could he go and run something complex, kind of like Jimbo's offense or Coach Bobo's offense? Sure. But he's great off platform. Guys that move, run around, like Arizona State's offense, he would be really good. That's a possibility. He's projected to end up at Oregon, so maybe that's where he'll go, but I think he could go a lot of places. So when you watch a kid, take your glasses off for whatever school you root for, ask yourself, does this fit what the school I root for does? If you're going to run a complex offense, the gunslinger throwing her all over the place, may not be the guy. He may have to wait. And how many kids really wait in today's world without transferring? That's something to think about. Now let me jump into the chat a little bit here. Hope everybody's doing well on this Tuesday, by the way. What we got going on here? Salty, do you think interceptions should be counted in a separate category if the receiver mishandles the ball and it is subsequently intercepted? I tell you what, that's a really good point. It's easy to bring up. The people that are at the game, even if it's just in a post on social media, should always say, so-and-so threw this, this, and this. He had an interception, but it went through the three receivers. Make it known at least. And then at the end of the year, the guys that cover a team, whether it's South Carolina, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, doesn't matter. How many of those picks, let's say they have 8, 4 of them were justified. 4 of them were not. I remember when Clausen was at Notre Dame his last year, he was 28-4. Only 1 of his picks were justified. 3 were off the hands of receivers. So that's a great example. Salty again. How excited were you with the U.S. men's hockey team victory against Canada for the gold? I'm not a huge hockey guy, but we never win. I don't think we won since that time. I mean, like it's been in the 80s. So that's awesome. The guy that won had the game-winning shot was really good in media too. So I think it's awesome. And hockey is one of those sports we've always been good at, but Canada and some of the teams over there in the East, like that's a whole nother level of importance. So our best athletes aren't always playing it. Katie, touchdowns to interceptions. I know it's NFL, but Matthew Stafford had 46 touchdowns to 8 picks, and that's in combination with a ton of yards. Quarterback recruits should be watching Matthew Stafford tape. For those that don't remember, he was from South Lake Carroll, the famous program in the Dallas area. They've sent 7 guys in the NFL at quarterback. It's insane. So that's a good starting point. And to that end, he was the number 1 recruit in the nation come out. He had a cannon for an arm. Salty, the transition for a quarterback from high school to college can be treacherous, 100%. The biggest issue seems to be difficulty reading college defenses. What do coaches do to evaluate quarterbacks on this? I'll just give you one example. I'm not going to name the player, but it's a scenario where when you visit, one of the reasons they want you to come throw for them is they want you to also meet with them and speak about the offense. Are you comfortable with this? Sometimes they'll put them on the board. Some schools do and some don't. But the ones that do, I think, are smart. If you're going to push a guy to learn more post-snap read stuff, like some of the stuff that Notre Dame does, Georgia does, I know some of what goes on with Riley's scheme out of SC is quick game. It's pretty simple, but they have some other stuff too. Like Caleb Williams could be challenged. I'm sure it's involved. You just got to fit. It's the same thing on their end. It is the parent and the player. Like, where is my kid going to fit? Is it Oregon? Is it Utah? Is it Michigan State? Whatever it is, you have to fit. So you got to ask the kids about things that are difficult in your offense. Are you comfortable with trying this? Here's what it is. Tell me what you think. If you don't, I think it's a disservice to yourself and everybody else in the process. Why would you not do that? Salty, how predictive is a quarterback success in 7-on-7? How well does it translate to similar success in full pads during a college game? It depends. Blondie, quarterback for Jacksonville. He was a terrible 7-on-7 quarterback from what one person told me. Okay, that's obviously not predictive of his college success. He won a national title as a freshman in 2018 at Clemson. But there are other guys that are just absolutely awesome at it, and they do well too. So I'm not sure. Like, Dante Moore was really good at it. Dante Moore's a really good college quarterback. I watched that from 5 feet away. The throw that he made at the Elite 11 finals in 7-on-7, they do it last day, like between like 3 guys. One just like hit a guy in the back of the end zone. I was standing there, like he almost would have hit me. And he just put it right on the money. Like, the ability to read defense is still the same. It's just more reps. That's why a lot of guys want to do it. And I think it's a very vital part of the process. Katie, what is your opinion of Gunnar Rivers, who just committed to NC State? He's also a legacy quarterback. I live about an hour from him. I'm going to go check him out live. I haven't seen him live yet. My buddy Larry's got a bunch of clips of him up on X and Instagram, etc. He makes good decisions and all that, I'm sure, because his dad is Mr. Rivers. He played for the Chargers forever, played for the Colts. But, I mean, I don't know enough about him yet because I haven't seen him live. How does he deal with being hit, throwing, adversity, all those things? I really don't know. But just watching his release and knowing who his dad is, like he's so far advanced probably with understanding schemes and coverages, that's got to be an edge, man. It's got to be an edge. Why would any quarterback recruit go to Miami when they have Coleman and nickel and a head coach that is in 5 seasons hasn't played his own quarterback recruits? I can't answer that with anything positive. It's going to be hard. Miami probably going to struggle to get a quarterback recruit this year. Katie, quarterback recruits should consider schools who tend to develop their own. At those places, you at least get to compete for a job as opposed to putting in the work and getting jumped by a portal quarterback. I think that's a big consideration. I've had some guys that are recruits speak about this, not just a quarterback, but other positions too. That's something they look at, and it's something that is monitored very easily. You can look up where a team signed the most. If they get a bunch of portal guys at O-line or quarterback or whatever, that matters. Pre-foreclosure mobile. What's your assessment on Jamison Roberts, Alabama's #1 quarterback, according to Rivals? I just saw him this past weekend. Jamison is a really good kid. His dad's a great guy. Processes well. He plays at Saraland High School just north of Mobile, one of the best programs not only in the Yellowhammer State, but the South. And he threw and ran for roughly 5,000 yards last year. 40-some touchdowns or whatever it was. He's very good. But last year was his first year to be the guy. KJ Lacey, the quarterback that's a backup at Texas, was at Saraland prior. We'll see what happens, but I think that Jamison's just scratching the surface. Like, I got a few clips up of him on my YouTube page for the shorts and stuff like that for the Portal Podcast, and on X at FBScout_Florida. He's got a nice delivery. He anticipates well, but he processes pre-play better than most high school kids. That's probably the best thing. He's already learning the game from above the shoulders, and that's key. You can probably, especially at the high school level, you can find a defender like, okay, this guy can't cover my guy. And then you go out and attack that player. He'll do that. So he plays with Gas Crew. It's one of the better 7-on-7 programs in Alabama in the South, and he's pretty good with what he does. I just think he just needs more reps. He's played 1 year, and he's only going to continue to get better. Right now, he's probably going to go to Oklahoma. Auburn's a possibility. Georgia's looking at him, some other schools too, Florida, etc. But this is a very accurate passer that understands timing and rhythm. I like Jamison Roberts quite a bit. To be honest, this is one of the more fun podcasts I've done, and I just barely scratched the surface. I only got through about a half dozen or so guys. It is an elite group. I don't know who the #1 quarterback will end up being in terms of the overall rankings. Kavian Bryant plays out in East Texas. If I had to rank one mobile quarterback, especially, it's light years. It's Kavian. My top two, because I'm comfortable with them and their style, what they've done and everything, would probably be Kavian and Trey. But there are so many guys. It's not even funny. It is a different world than what it used to be. That touchdown to interception ratio I kept bringing up, it's important, but I'm seeing more and more guys that are coached at a younger age to play quarterback, and they don't make as many errors. It's awesome. So I think there's always going to be the opportunity for more players to keep coming along. Like the number 20 quarterback in 2027 would be like the number 4 quarterback 20 years ago. Their advancement and their opportunity to play earlier, because how they're coached, how well they adapt at an early age, really, really matters. What we got here? Burning Coders. The best quarterback in 27 will be the one that signs with Notre Dame. The Irish are on a different level developing quarterbacks now. I don't know if that's true because I don't know who they're going to get. They're after Mencl and several other guys. I know they're after Champ Mons. I don't know who they're going to sign. There's a ton of good players. The Davin Davidson's another kid they're after. But we'll see where they end up. I wouldn't be surprised if they went after a few other guys that are more Midwest. The Jake Nayrock kid out of Illinois is a possibility. There are certainly others, but they've gotten plenty of good quarterbacks here lately. It's probably going to be hard to get somebody because you're probably not going to play it until your junior year. That's the problem Notre Dame's going to be in. But they'll figure it out. It's Notre Dame. It's not like they're going to have any issues finding good players. So with that, I appreciate everybody stopping in once again to check out the Portal Podcast. It's always fun here. We do live shows at noon every day, unless I'm out of town. It's a lot of fun for me. I hope you enjoy them as well. I'll do other position breakdowns soon. Might even do receiver or something tomorrow, and that's a whole nother animal. There's 100 receivers every year. It's even more difficult than quarterback, but maybe I'll just do more quarterbacks tomorrow. We could even extend that. Might do a little of both. But thank you once again. Please like and subscribe if you're on Apple. Leave us a 5-star review. This has been the Portal Podcast. We will see you again soon.